Diamond, section A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 times into the fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the intro. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and into the fill at 12 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Section B1, it's a little tricky how it alternates from verse to fill to verse to fill back and forth. So the first bar is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or you might remove the hi-hat on the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, either way totally fine. Into the fill at 16, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now back to the verse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then you'll go to the green fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I almost kind of sing that part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So whatever works for you count-wise. After the green fill, you go back to the verse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Back to the yellow fill at 23, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You go back to the verse again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then this time to the blue fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Section B2 is just a continuation of the last section. I believe it starts with the verse at 28 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and into the yellow fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the verse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the green fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the verse at 35 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the yellow fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Section C at 39 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now if you're actually counting it out from that blue bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Section D at 46 seconds into the chorus. A little bit tricky. In this spot, I always want to power through the chorus, but you really have to tap kind of lightly with the foot to make the cadence because you're not used to placing the snare in the spots that it's like displaced at. 1 and 2 and 4 is a lot harder than you think, I promise you. So just a smooth, light kick, steady quarters on the crash. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. Now you just incorporate the crash. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. Which gets you to the red fill at 51. 1 and 2 and then back to the chorus at 53. 1 and 2 and 4. Back to the red fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the blue fill at 56. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the fill at 58. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ready to crash on the 1. Each bar left to right once. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and ready to crash. Section E at 1 minute. Again, it's kind of this back and forth with different bars. So the first measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I don't change the notation here from a minute and 2 on. So he's either going to play this snippet as a fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and, or as a verse, 1 and 2 and 3 and. I didn't think it was worth creating a whole new line of tabs just to show you the difference between here and here. So when I call it the fill, or when I call it the verse, and then you just adjust accordingly. So the verse at 1 minute on the first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and into the fill version, 1 and 2 and 3 and into the verse version, 1 and 2 and 3 and now into the fill at 105, which is bar 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and back to the verse version, 1 and 2 and 3 and but at 109 it's played as a fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and 111 as a verse, 1 and 2 and 3 and then the blue fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Section F at 114, 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and into the fill at 119, 1 and 2 and 3 and goes back to the verse 3 times, 1 and 2 and 3 and the fill at 126, 1 and 2 and 3 and then the blue fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The reason I paused, I was wondering if the fill at 126 has been used before. It hasn't, because he adds the snare on 2. Each bar left to right once. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Section G comes in with the fill, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3 times into the red fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the chorus 3 times, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I might have changed the colors in what's on the screen. Ignore what I said about color. After the fill, the chorus, the fill, 139 is the second bar 3 times. Now you're on to bar 4 as a fill, which is the first time you've seen this fill at 144. 1 and 2 and 1 is kind of how it's played, because it'll crash on the 1. Let me show you that fill at 144. 1 and 2 and 1. Then it goes back to the chorus at 146. 1 and 2 and 4, 3 times. Back to the fill in bar 4. 1 and 2 and 1. Each bar left to right once. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1. $153, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now this fill at 156, let me break this down for you. You're going to have the crash, 1 and 2 and. You're going to come in with the 3 on the hi-hat. Then there's a diddle on the and then a right stroke on the floor tom. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and right? So it stops a little bit shy of the 4, so you just have to pay attention to the cadence. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and then you're ready for 158's fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Each bar left to right once. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right, the bridge at 2 minutes is where I've had the most trouble. because it's got this steady 4 on the floor, then there's a little bit of variation. 1, 2, 3, 4, which might also be played 1, 2, 3, 4, or the inverse of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nobody's really going to notice when it's the snare floor or the hi-hat snare, so don't worry about that. Just worry about playing through the cadence steady. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it almost feels like there's a little bit of a delay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that 4 on the floor kick drum is going to be kind of sneaky for this part. Bar 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that one's a little bit tricky because the 4 on the floor, and then the beats on the and, where you're used to having them on the whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then bar 3, exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, and it's tricky because you're not used to the displacement on the snare. So again, that bar. 1, 2, 3, and. So let me do each bar once, and then I'll show you the actual cadence. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice I naturally dropped the kick after the and on the 1 because it will keep the same speed going into the next bar. Let me show you the whole run. Bar 1, bar 2, bar 1, bar 3. 1, 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then you should be ready to drop the kick for the 1 on the next section. .214, it's just a continuation of the previous section, except now you're adding in the 8th notes on the hi-hat. So you just came out of and 4 and 1 and. So you just came out of and 4 and into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 4. 1, 2 and 3 4 and 1, 2 and 3 4. 1, 2 and 3 4 and. So let's look at each bar once. Bar 1. 1, 2 and 3 4. Bar 2. 1. Bar 2. 1, 2 and 3 4. Bar 3. 1, 2 and 3 4 and. Bar 4. 1, 2 and 3 4 and. So let me do each bar left to right once so you see what they are. 1, 2 and 3 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and. K at 225, 1 and 4, or really 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but it kind of feels like 1 and 4 into the fill at 227, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, pretty simple, just like the fill from earlier, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, except you're doing the 3 E here, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, into the chorus, 1 and 2 4, 3 times, and then into the fill, 1 and 2 and each bar left to right once, 1 and 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 4, 1 and 2 and. 236, just a continuation, 1 and 2 4, into the fill, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and then this bridge, second bridge, is a little different. It's going to go 1 and 4, 3 times, 1 and 4, 1 and 4, into the fill, which is a variation of that, 1 and 4 and back to the bridge twice, 1 and 4. Now by that point, you're removing the crash, and the last time is 1 and 4. Each bar left to right once. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 4. 1 and 4 and. And finally, section M at 253. For the outro, the first bar it crashes on the 1, the second bar it crashes on the and of 1. So you have to listen carefully for the feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You're going to want to crash on the 1 both times, but again, a theme in this song is displacing that snare by a half beat. So one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you rest 8 bars on the outro.